Awesome. So let me tell you what we're going to do today. We won't do a lot of introductions right now because I'm going to put us in some breakout groups so that we can talk to each other. But I do want everyone to just say your name and what you're excited about this year very briefly, and then we'll get right into the content of the onboarding. We're going to go over our discussion sessions as they were. We'll talk about what are this community discussions, these series that we came up with. We'll practice how to run them, and then we'll do some what ifs. We'll talk about some of the most horrible things that could ever go wrong when you host a community discussion, and we'll talk about what you can do about it. So we won't just like blow it up. We'll give you some strategies. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to ask Stefan to go first. So just, I already said your name. So you can just tell us what you are excited for in the new year.
Okay, so first of all, I'm Stefan. Back when I joined the Carpentries, which was already last year, beginning of last year, I was still a postdoc, basically. I now work at a company, which has changed my point of view a bit. New Year's resolutions and what I'm excited about is coming back to the Carpentries and getting involved again more. Because I talked to Toby Hodges. We met just before Christmas in Heidelberg, and that got me excited again. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thanks for being here. Erin?
Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Becker. I'm the Associate Director with the Carpentries. I'm excited about too many things to list. So I'll just say one thing is that I am very, very, very excited about the changes to the structure of the discussion sessions. We've been talking about this for as long as I've been employed with the Carpentries, which is about 2.5 years. So I'm really glad to see this materializing. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks, everybody, because this sure was a group effort. Alex.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexandra Denna. I work for the Software Sustainability Institute. Happy New Year, everyone, and hope you had a good start of the year. This year, I'm excited about organizing a first European Carpentry Connect event. I think we've agreed we can label it first European Carpentry Connect event. We've checked; no one's done it before, and also. The big theme of this year and the Carpentry Connect I'm running in Manchester in June is going to be empowering people to create more materials and to work a bit more on curriculum. So we've had a massive success with running workshops and training people. Now we want to help them do a bit more with creating training materials, carpentry style, whichever domain or tool they use. So that's my big thing, probably for the next couple of years, not just for this year.
I hope that we're able to hear a lot from you, Alex, and because that sounds really awesome. And yeah, it's probably going to take a couple years, huh?
Yes, and I probably need to get in touch soon with Francois, who is on the call as well. I think I've seen him.
Absolutely. Thank you. Manisha.
Hi, everyone. My name is Manisha Sane. I'm the program manager for the Carpentries. And I am just really looking forward to all of the upcoming changes that we see with the Carpentries. The changes to the discussion sessions like we're talking about now, changes to how we train instructors, how we manage workshops, like all the behind the scenes workflows. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on that I am looking forward to.
Absolutely. Thank you. Benjamin.
Hey, I'm Ben. I'm in Australia at the Australian National University. I'm a new PI and I just joined the Carpentries as a trainer. So I'm just actually looking forward to getting my head around how this all works as a community-wise.
Welcome. I'm so happy to meet you. Evo?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Are Ivo, and I'm a student at Memorial University, and I've been involved with Carpentries since 2016, mainly as an instructor. And I've been also looking at different ways to get more involved in the community, apart from just being part of um, teaching workshops. And so that's why I'm looking forward to an exciting 2019 in other activities apart from workshops.
So happy to have you. Thank you. Cher?
Happy New Year's, everyone. I too, I'm Cher, and I am the workshop administrator for the Carpentries. I'm in Detroit, Michigan, where it's a little cold, but I am really excited just about the year. I share the same sentiments as Aaron stated. There's so much, but I'm just really excited about all of the new things that we have been working on to make your jobs easier as community members. And so just from, thinking about Alex Carpentry Connect, working with her and the onboarding, there's so much that we're doing to try to make your jobs easier because we're so grateful for all the work that you do. So I'm just really excited to see what the rest of the year unfolds.
I love it. Elizabeth?
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Williams. I'm the business administrator for the Carpentries. I'm also really excited for all of the stuff we have planned for this year, but I feel like Cher and Aaron and Manisha have all articulated that really well. So selfishly, I am really excited that I have committed to host one of these community discussions once per month because it always seems like an hour is just too long and it's going to be too hard. But once I get on the discussions and sign off again, I'm just like, wow, that was the best hours spent, and this is going to keep me accountable for doing that and contributing in that way once a month.
Thank you for committing as well, and you're absolutely right. Every time it comes up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have the host, and then afterwards I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. Robin?
Hello, so Robin Donatello. I'm at Cal State University Chico in California. I ran I'm a relatively new instructor, ran my first workshop successfully last August, and it was pretty fun. And so I kind of want to participate more regularly to keep the momentum going because I'm the only instructor up here. So I kind of want to I'm excited for this year to try to run more workshops on a regular basis, and being a part of these community discussions, I'm thinking will help keep my motivation high.
That's what I'm talking about. That's my word, sustainability. I think that's going to help with my own sustainability. Thanks, Robin. And congrats on running your first workshop too. All right, last but not least, Francois.
Hi, everyone. I'm Francois. I'm the curriculum development lead for the Carpentries. For this year, on a personal level, I'm excited to see my baby grow. And professionally, I'm excited about all the things that we started to prototype last year, and I think that are going to become real projects this year.
I too am excited to see Francois' baby grow, I must admit. All right, let's get into the content now. I see many of us have already opened my slide deck. If you read my slide deck just now, I'm going to be really sad because there's some surprises in there. So hopefully you didn't go too far ahead. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to briefly go through my slides. I won't be able to see you, so if you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and just ask your question. All right, so thanks again for attending and welcome to the Carpentries Community Discussion host onboarding. Again, my name is Carrie and I'm on staff at the Carpentries and very happy to be hosting today. Just as an overview, we'll talk about kind of the history of discussion sessions and their purpose, some of the challenges that we've had hosting instructor discussion sessions in general. And then we'll talk about some of the feedback we've received from the community and how we're transitioning into running community discussions. From there, we'll do some role play. So I'm going to split us into breakout groups so that we can practice running a pre and post workshop debrief. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll talk about the what ifs. So what if nobody shows up? What if Zoom crashes? You know, we'll talk about some of those inevitable things that may happen and strategies to overcome. And then I will give us all time to sign up to host a session, of course, and then submit topics for themed discussions. We'll have time for questions, hopefully at the end, and then I have a couple of resources. So that's kind of an overview, and we'll go ahead and get started. Again, if you have questions, feel free to stop me or type them in the chat. So before the new year began, we were running between 3 and 4 instructor discussions a week. We've shortened, or we've lessened the number of instructor discussion sessions to 2 per week. And the purpose of these sessions is really to provide a forum where our experienced instructors can talk to our new instructors about workshops that are upcoming or workshops that you have recently taught. It's also an opportunity for trainees to hear about some of the workshops that are going on globally within our community and to discuss curriculum discussions, to discuss instructor notes and things like that. So we always find that the sessions are heavily attended for variable reasons. They're open. Additionally, the sessions are open to anyone. So even though we say, if you recently taught a workshop or you have a workshop upcoming, we'd like you to attend a session, the sessions are actually open to anyone to attend. So if you just want to hop on and see what's going on, it's a great way to get involved. We've had some challenges with discussion sessions in the past. The first being recruiting discussion hosts. So we have multiple sessions a week in multiple time zones to make it convenient for, community members to attend. But we found that it's difficult to get hosts, and we've seen a lot of the same people sign up to host. Additionally, it doesn't matter what time we select, it's always hard to pick a great time for everyone. So picking a day and time to accommodate multiple time zones, as I'm sure all of you know, is a big challenge. We also found that discussion slots were filled faster than we could get them on the Etherpad. So we do a lot of instructor training online nowadays, and we found that as soon as the slots were open, they were being filled by those who were looking to do their checkout. And then lastly, most of the checkout participants had been for most of the participants had been for checkout. We're seeing fewer and fewer pre and post workshop debriefs on the discussion sessions. I see something in the chat, but I can't open it. So if there's a question,
no, it was just me agreeing with you. Sorry. Karen.
Oh, okay. I wish they would I can't see the chat while I'm presenting, so sorry about that. Awesome. But I want to talk about some of the successes that we've had. So with all of the challenges, the Instructor Development Committee worked very hard to develop a discussion host onboarding, similar to what we're doing right now, because we found that many people wanted to host, but they didn't know what it meant. Or they thought, maybe I haven't been teaching for a long time, so I'm not sure how to host. So we developed this onboarding to kind of go through, what is a discussion session? How is it run? What should I do before? What do I do after? And because of the host onboarding, we saw new community members get involved with hosting discussions. We also piloted some themed discussion sessions. Whoops, sorry about that. There we go. We've also piloted themed discussion sessions, and I'll go over that a little bit more later, but these were hosts who thought of a really good topic to talk about outside of presenting about the pre and post workshop debrief. So for example, how to run a workshop with little to no money. From the feedback that we received in our surveys, we came up with a project for instructor feedback reports. So a lot of times instructors receive their surveys, the pre and post surveys from the workshops, but it's kind of hard to interpret what they mean. And so that's a project that came out of the Instructor Development Committee as a result of the feedback we received from discussion sessions. And lastly, we revised our host questionnaire. So I'll show you the questionnaire in a couple of slides, but we ask that the host complete a questionnaire to tell us how the session went, how many people attended, etc. We were able to revise the questionnaire so it's a little bit easier to get to, first of all, and easier to answer the questions. We want to make the experience enjoyable and we don't want to put so much overhead on the hosts. So we're hoping that some of the things that we've done to improve the onboarding and the host questionnaire will hopefully make people want to host more. That's what I'm hoping. All right. So as I mentioned, it's been difficult to meet the demand for discussions. One, there were so many discussions per week and finding hosts was difficult. And then also a lot of the people that signed up for discussions were checkout participants. So we thought maybe we could relax the requirement for checkout in terms of the discussion session. So again, we put it to the community, and the community expressed very strongly that they would like to keep discussions as a requirement for the checkout, but it was an overwhelming desire to offer multiple pathways to participate in a discussion, not just the pre and post workshop debrief. So from the feedback that we received from the community, we're introducing a series or a set of community discussions. There are 3 types. So the pre and post workshop discussions, this is what we're all used to now. We used to call them instructor discussion sessions. So right now, these will fulfill the current purpose of discussion sessions for those who are getting ready to teach a workshop, or maybe you taught a workshop and you're trying to report back to the community about how it went. The second type of community discussion is the themed discussion session. So this is what I mentioned earlier. We piloted a few of these, and these discussions are centered around a particular topic. Some of the topics that we've already piloted are how to run a workshop with no money, interpreting and acting on feedback, best use of the Etherpad in your workshops, and then navigating unpredictable learning environments. So I invite everyone on this call, if you have ideas for a themed discussion session, I'll show you how to submit your idea. The last type of community discussion is called a Carpentries Conversation. So these will be hosted once per month, and they'll be hosted by our committees or task forces. And this is an opportunity for us to learn about new developments, new programs that are going on in the community. And I listed here our current active community committees and task forces. So we have the African Task Force, Carpentries in Latino America, Carpentry Con, the Code of Conduct Committee, Instructor Development, Lesson Infrastructure, and then the Executive Council. We already have had 3 of our task forces and committees submit the form to do a Carpentries Conversation, which I'm very excited about. We've received from the Carpentry Con, the Instructor Development, and the Code of Conduct. So look out for those to be listed on the Etherpad soon. So in terms of the checkout requirement, the language has adjusted just a little bit. Trainees completing their checkout requirement can attend any community discussion. So any of the discussions listed on the previous slide, the pre and post debrief, the theme discussion, or the Carpentries Conversation. Any of these discussions will count towards their checkout. And all of the discussions are listed on one Etherpad. So there will not be, 3 separate Etherpads. They're all listed on the Etherpad. The pre and post workshop debriefs will be set 3 months in advance. So if you look at the Etherpad now, all of the pre and post workshop debrief slots are on the Etherpad for January, February, and March. And then as we receive forms for the theme discussions and the Carpentries conversations, we will add those to the Etherpad, and we'll send out a broad communication about those sessions as well, so that people can sign up to attend. Additionally, all of the community discussions will allow for a greater number of participants. Usually, before this time, we would only allow up to 10 people to attend, but now we are offering more participants to attend, and we're planning to use the Zoom feature where we can have breakout rooms. And we're going to do that today so you can see what that looks like. And that will help us for small group discussions. All right, so at this time, I would like for everyone to click on this link. This leads us to the checklist for leading a community discussion. I'm going to click on it as well, but feel free to click on it so that you can follow along on your own computer. Alrighty. Before I do that, what questions do you have? Where are your faces? There we go. Questions? All right. So, leading the discussion sessions. This checklist is very comprehensive, and it walks you through what you need to do to lead a community discussion. The Etherpad link is pad.softwarecarpentry.org/community-discussion. So obviously it's in the slides as well. Anytime you want to sign up for a discussion to lead, to co-host, or be the note taker, or attend the discussion, all you have to do is go to the Etherpad and add your name. We prefer 2 hosts, but we will talk about what to do if you don't have a co-host or a note taker as well. So we ask that you sign on as close to the start time as you can. There are times where the Zoom room is used in a call, in the hour before for a demo session or another community meeting. So I would sign on between 5 and 10 minutes before. If your group is very large and no one has signed up to serve as a co-host or a note taker, you can feel free to ask the group, would anyone like to volunteer to take notes? Do not feel pressured to lead the meeting, take the notes. It's a lot to do at once. And I find personally that just asking, would anyone like to take notes? People tend to volunteer and want to kind of step in and enjoy and help out. At the very bottom of the Etherpad, there is the agenda for the session. So you'll just copy that agenda and paste it right under the notes for your session. And again, this is a way to help you lead the discussion. Don't feel as if you have to go verbatim about what's on the agenda or the prompts in the agenda. If you've done a few sessions and you have some questions that you want to ask during the session, please feel free. But we give you a sample agenda just to have something to work with. We ask that you, welcome, introduce yourselves, also review and mention the code of conduct. Just remind everyone, that we are all under the code of conduct. Allow the attendees to introduce themselves. I always like to do something fun. So today in our introduction, we did, what are you excited about for the new year? It doesn't have to be something super long, telling their life story, but something fun. This is for pre and post workshop debrief. So if there are attendees who have taught a workshop or getting ready to teach a workshop, then you'll go over the reports from the previous workshop. What were some of the significant obstacles, challenges that occurred during their workshops? If they're preparing to teach an upcoming workshop, you can ask them very specific questions about the lessons, about how they organize, who's teaching what. And then you always want to leave time for those who are attending for their checkout. What questions do they have about the checkout procedure, about organizing workshops, and any other questions that as active community members you probably have or you've seen in your own workshops. And then in closing, we just like to talk about, why are they excited to attend? I loved hearing about what you all were excited about for the new year. We are always excited about this community. It's ever growing, it's ever changing, it's always getting better. So it's great to hear from your attendees what they're excited about. And then you want to remind everyone they can archive the Etherpad by hitting the star at the very top if they're interested in archiving it, or copying and pasting the notes. If there was some really good discussion and some ideas that they can use, they can always copy and paste the notes. Now, after the discussion, as host, we ask that you archive the Etherpad and fill out the host questionnaire. We will go through the host questionnaire later. You don't have to click on it now, but if you ever lose it, it's on the Etherpad as well. We want to make sure, especially for the checkout participants, that we know who attended so that they can get checked off for their requirement. So please, we ask that you fill out the host questionnaire right after you host a session and copy and paste the names of the attendees directly into the form. It will be question number 7. And then lastly, clear the information from your session once you've archived the Etherpad. And this is optional. You can write a blog post. I'm just saying, I love writing blog posts. You can write a blog post. There may have been some really interesting things that came up in your discussion. Maybe there were a couple of instructors that you met or trainees that you met and you want to collaborate and write a blog post together. Feel free. We love seeing blog posts from community members about discussions that have gone on. It's just a lot of fun. So that's optional. I'm going to pause my sharing to see if there are questions. All righty. So back to the presentation, and we're going to get into there we go. Okay. So that was the overall agenda for leading any type of community discussion. The questions were related to pre and post workshops. Now, if you're leading a themed discussion or a Carpentries conversation, so if you're a committee or task force leader and you're presenting something about, the Code of Conduct Committee, for example, the agenda is just a little bit different. We still want you to do your welcome and introductions, but for the theme sessions, we ask that you do a short presentation about whatever the topic is. So similar to what I'm doing right now. I'm giving a short presentation about our onboarding. I'm going to break us up into smaller groups and give you guided questions to help you talk, to help you discuss. And then we'll recap in the main room. We'll do some question and answers to recap and how to talk about how to get involved with the topic. And then last week, we still want to offer those who are attending for a checkout an opportunity to ask questions and remind them of their checkout requirements. So the agenda for the themed discussion session and the Carpentries conversation is just a tad bit different, but the flow is the same. You still want to introduce yourself, go over the code of conduct. For these types of sessions, there will be more of a presentation and then a breakout with group discussions. Is there a question in the chat? I can see something pinging, but I don't know if it's a question.
Someone had a question, Carrie, but I answered it.
Oh, great. What was the question?
Just about how to do the archives. It's fine. Yeah, we're good.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so I'm tired of talking. Let's have some fun. What we're going to do is a little bit of role play. So we're going to pretend as if we all are hosting a pre and post workshop discussion, okay? I'm going to split you into breakout rooms. So I'm going to use 2 rooms today. You'll introduce yourselves and add your group members' names to the Etherpad. You'll decide who is going to be the host and the co-host. Copy the pre and post workshop agenda from the bottom of the Etherpad, and then the host will lead the discussion. Now, this is going to it's going to take some creativity. It's the top of the year, so we should still have our creative brains on, our juices flowing. I would like for, if you're not hosting, if you're an attendee, pretend as if you've either just taught a workshop, you have a workshop upcoming, or you're attending for checkout. All right? The co-host, note taker, don't forget to take notes. Feel free to chime in and give insight. And then I'd like for everyone to have a look at the host questionnaire as well. We will do this for 10 minutes. It'll be a 10 minutes, it's very short discussion session. So it'll be about 10 minutes. Have a look at the questionnaire so you can look and see the flow of the questionnaire. And then we'll come back to the main room and kind of talk about how everything went. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. What questions do you have before I split you into great breakout rooms?
So I was just trying to catch the link to the where I saw you displaying with the agenda for the host to follow, and so I couldn't find that on the presentation slide. It showed click, and I couldn't find it.
Carrie, you're muted.
Was it for the checklist?
No, the slide number 9, which was showing you can click for the pre and post workshop debrief checklist, yeah. And so that didn't work for me. I just couldn't get it.
Are you clicking in the screen share or in the actual, like, do you actually have the slide deck open?
On the slide.
And I'm putting it in the chat as well.
Okay.
This is for the instructor discussion session host checklist that we looked at, right? Okay. And Erin, you had a question?
Just, I'm putting slots in the Etherpad for the breakout rooms. So how many breakout rooms are there? 3, 4, 2?
There's going to be 2.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms now. All righty, there you go. You have your marching orders. I'll see you back in about between 10 and 12 minutes. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm the only one who clicks the button leave. Everyone is just waiting to be picked up.
Yes, I'm going to close the rooms now. Do you have any questions though?
No, that was fun.
Awesome. All righty.
Carrie, can I just say I love that the new form basically has a question about voluntolding people. So it's like, was there anybody on your list who we should recruit to do more stuff? Like,
and I will say, I did not create that form. I revised it, but it was created by the previous, when it was mentoring subcommittee co-chair. And I was like, I think I'll just leave that question. Although I might want to ask Francois if it's okay to leave that question. Awesome. So, did you enjoy that? We should do this more often.
Robin has a hand.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Okay. So as a note taker that totally failed at getting people's affiliations and stuff, how do you get that information post so you can fill it back in? Because I totally yeah.
Well, we ask on the Etherpad that, and it may not be there, so we may have to fix the Etherpad, but usually it's there already. They would put their name, their affiliation, and if they are attending for checkouts or pre-post debrief. So if I didn't set up the attendee sign up like that, I will fix that.
No, you totally didn't. I just didn't look up and copy it down. Right, because in our little, mock breakout sessions, the purpose for attending is different than the purpose right now. So I was trying to reinvent the wheel, but yeah, it was right there for me. Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, and I also want to say just a quick thing about note taking. Don't feel as if you have to type everything that everyone says. But also don't feel that you have to sit and think and interpret. It's really just if there are interesting links that come up, if there are, topics that maybe you haven't heard before or things like that. Don't feel like you have to type every single thing that everyone says, but there may be some really rich discussion that you as an instructor want to follow up on. You can also encourage the attendees to take notes too. So don't feel as if you have to do everything. Manisha has a hand.
Yes, what you were saying about taking notes reminded me is that sometimes people leave notes and comments and questions in the chat. And I wanted to give you all a little bit of warning is, as you may have seen, if you look at the chat now, this chat history of some of the things that came up before we went into our breakout rooms, you may no longer see. Zoom will tend to forget the chats as you go in and out of breakout rooms. So if you do want to preserve anything in the chat, just be sure that you capture it right away if you are planning to go into breakout rooms.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. That is a great point. You can also decide at the very beginning if you want to use the Zoom chat or if you want to have them pay attention to the Etherpad chat as well. So it's totally up to you what you want to use. Alrighty, so let's talk about some what ifs. I put a little note to remind myself in the slides. There are plenty of what ifs. I added one. What if I'm hosting a discussion and there are no pre-post workshop debriefs? So what if everyone on the discussion is for checkout? What on earth am I supposed to do? I want us to take the next 2 minutes. Wow, we needed an hour and a half for this onboarding. I want us to take the next 2 minutes to think of your own what ifs. And you can add them on line 110 in the Etherpad. And what I'm going to do is we'll talk about a few of them, but I'll take some time to look at each of the what ifs and come up with some strategies with the Instructor Development Committee, and then we'll add that information to this onboarding as well. So let's take the next 2 minutes and think of some of your what ifs. What's the worst that could happen on a discussion that you're leading? And if you could go ahead and type those what ifs into the Etherpad. 1 more minute. All right. You all are amazing with these questions. You are so right. Okay. We only have 6 minutes left. So I'm going to start with the ones that are kind of low-hanging fruit. But I don't want to be the only one to answer some of these questions. So can I get a volunteer for a note taker to kind of type in some notes as I'm answering some questions? Thank you. Ben? Thanks, Ben. Oh, Aaron said, Ben, Aaron, do you want Ben to do it? Ben can do it. Okay. Thank you so much. Alrighty. So what if there was one that I really wanted to answer? It was about background noise. Okay. Line 119. What if someone does not have a headset and can't control their background noise? One thing that you will receive as a host is login privileges for the Zoom room. So normally when you attend a session, you just click on the Zoom link and you attend. When you're hosting, you will receive the login information so that you can log in as a host. And this will give you more privileges, for lack of a better word. One of those privileges is the ability to mute individuals and to obviously do the breakout rooms. So what I would say is if you're dealing with 1 or 2 individuals who have a lot of background noise, you have the ability to mute them, and you could also ask them, nicely, if they have a question, if they can type it in the chat. Does anyone have another strategy that might be helpful? Alex?
It's not so much as a strategy, but sometimes even if you have host privileges, in the case you forget to use them and just connect as a regular user, then you're left out without the possibility to mute people. And then I find it's always awkward to ask people to mute themselves, because that normally happens at the beginning of the session. We say, if you're not speaking, can you please mute yourselves? And then sometimes you get someone who doesn't follow that, and then I never ask them to mute. I just suffer silently. Well, not so silently.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Aaron had a question?
No, just a response to that. There is a way to get host access after you've already logged in. You need the host key, which I think we're providing to all of the discussion hosts. Carrie will know about the logistics on that if we give it to everybody who goes through onboarding or how that works. But there is a 5-digit key that you can enter to get access as host.
Oh, that's really useful.
Yes.
So how is that going to be shared with everyone, or is it just on a per need or per session basis?
Yes, it will be on a per session basis. So I'll look ahead to see who's hosting and make sure that you have the key.
Okay.
Within at least 3 days in advance.
Superb.
All right. What if I forget to fill out the form? This is line 126. Aaron?
Yeah, sorry, I can answer that from an administrative perspective. So if you forget to fill out the form, it will get solved eventually. But what will happen is somebody will email checkout@carpentries.org and say, hey, I finished all of the things and I don't have my instructor badge, my instructor certificate yet, what happened? And then either Cher, myself, or whoever's checking that email will go and we'll ask them who their host was. Hopefully they remember, and then we'll email you and ask like what day you had it. There's a way of recovering that information, but it's a pain because we have to load up the Etherpad history and all that stuff. So please remember to fill out the form.
I trust you all with my Etherpad and with my form. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to tell on myself, there was one time that I did forget to fill out the form and I did get an email from Cher. And I had to go through a lot, but I recovered. And I never forgot again. Awesome. Okay, one last question, but I do promise that I will have answers to all of these questions. I'm going to send out a follow-up email with the recording, with the slides, and with more answers to these questions. So don't feel like these questions won't get answered. What if one person, so this is line 133, what if one person doesn't say or contribute anything? I have an answer to that, but I want to offer the floor to see if anyone else has an idea. Yes, Stefan.
To be honest, I stepped into that trap at some point. That wasn't a Carpentries training, but where I was asking people to introduce themselves, and I had a person that had trouble speaking, basically, and that turned out to be a really awkward situation, to be honest. So I tend to, I don't know, just really think that if someone is not saying anything, they just don't feel comfortable saying something. And usually I would leave it as is, to be honest, and not force anyone.
Does anyone have a counter idea? Yes.
So I was just going to say, I would ask, push the person to talk by asking questions directly at such a person. I think that's the only way you can get the person also involved in discussion, such like ask your opinion about someone's comment or something like that. And so that way you force the person to talk.
Perfect. We are out of time. Next time, this will be 1 hour and 20 minutes. But I did put in the chat, you are ready to lead a discussion now. Okay, you're ready. So sign up. We have slots that are open between now and March. So we're going to load the Etherpad with slots for the pre and post discussions 3 months in advance. If you sign up and something comes up in your schedule, that is not a problem. So feel free to sign up for one in March. And if March comes around and, oh my goodness, something came up, all you have to do is email the discussion host mailing list on Topic Box. We also have a discussion host Slack channel. Get in touch with me. We will get the session filled. So don't feel as though you can't sign up now because you don't really know how your schedule is going to go. I would rather see names on the Etherpad and then figure something out later if a session needs to get filled than to see no names on the Etherpad. And lastly, if you have an idea for a themed discussion session, or if you're part of one of the committees or task forces and you want to lead a discussion in the future, you can complete that form as well. I want to thank you so much again. This has been an amazing welcome back to work. Happy New Year. And I'm going to summarize the notes from this session and provide the recording. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I hope to see you on another call soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Carrie.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.